Hey, you want to celebrate something with me for a minute? So, I finished a second deck. For those of you guys who know me, I recently made a tarot deck. It was my Mac Miller deck, and I made a standard and a special version of that one, and I have been very proud of it for a long time. Been promoting it a lot, and I did get quite a few sales on it, and I was very happy that it resonated with people. And what you guys don't know is that I have been working on a second deck for quite a while, and any of you who've ever gotten a reading from me have actually probably seen this deck. I made it years ago for my own personal use. It was an Ancestor oracle deck, and it's something that my ancestors and I created together as a way for me to converse with them more. I never intended on selling it or doing anything with it, but I got a lot of use out of it personally until I was able to build up my relationship with them and I didn't need the deck anymore. And then at some point I started integrating that deck in client readings. And my ancestors had led me about a year or two ago to start considering making it a deck, like an actual deck. And it was kind of a big undertaking because it is 80 cards with upright and reversed messages. I did create it on the back of a tarot deck, and every time I kind of looked at it, I got a little, what's the word? Deterred, because I was like, damn, this is a really big project, because I didn't have a face for it, right? I just had words, and I didn't want to just put words on a card. I thought about this a million ways, and I could never like come up with an idea for it, and I kind of tabled it for a long time, ended up making my Mac Miller deck, and then came back to this one, and I started messing around with images on Procreate, and my daughter was with me one day and I asked her, what do you think of this? What do you think of this? What do you think of this? You know, just like as a picture. And she was like, well, I like that, but what if we do this? What if we add this color? What if we put this color here, right? And somehow that day we came up with a card image, right? And it's just like a background. But I got the feeling of, oh, that's my card image, isn't it? So I used the same service that I did to make my Mac Miller deck, and I started chipping away at creating this Ancestor deck, and it was a much bigger undertaking than I anticipated it would be, because again, it's 80 cards with upright and reverse. I didn't know if I wanted to do both meanings on the front of the card. That would mean I need a back of the card, right? I ended up coming to the conclusion of front and back. That way you can shuffle it however you want, however you mix up the cards, the message that's meant to come out will come out, right? And I have been working on this deck for 6 months, and that's wild considering I finished my Mac Miller tarot deck in one day. One real good night of really hard work and no sleep. From the time my baby child went to bed to the time that she woke up in the morning, I banged out that entire deck. But this Ancestor deck was so much more work. There was a lot of issues with the website. It kept crashing at certain times. I tried doing it on my phone. It wasn't compatible. Like, there were so many issues along the way. And I've been chipping away at this for 6 months. It was really hard to find the motivation, the time. I would try to sit down at the computer and commit to at least 5 cards, right? I was like, I can do 5 cards a day. And that's technically 10 cards because they're front and back, and I'd get through 1 card or 2 card and I'd be like, damn, this sucks, I don't want to do this. And you know, I'd try to do that every day, and then it would turn into 1 day out of the week, and then it would turn into 1 day out of the month, and then I'd forget all about it for a while and try again next month. And this was a really hard project for me to do. I could have just banged it out. I really could have. Now that I'm finally done with it, I'm like, it just took like one good day of having spoons to do it. But that's the issue, is I didn't have spoons because, as a lot of you know, I am pregnant, and I have been pregnant this whole time that I have been working on this deck. I have gone through a lot of tiredness in my pregnancy. This is my second pregnancy, and I have actually been anemic through the whole pregnancy. So I've been kind of dealing with that, and it wasn't until I finally hit my third trimester that I was able to start kind of forcing myself to not sleep as much and eat a little bit more, right? It's still really hard every day, but I'm getting there. I'm real close, right? I'm at 29 weeks right now, so I'm very close. But all of that is to say that I had a lot of things working against me in the creation of this deck, and every step of the way I wanted to give up. I wanted to scrap the deck. The more I looked at it, the more I started to hate the background, the more I started to hate the concept. I kept rewriting messages, right? I would connect with my ancestors and ask them how they felt about these things, and we started rewriting it for a public audience because a lot of these messages were really mean and like specific to me, so I had to kind of soften a couple of them up and change the meaning and make them a little bit more palatable. And yeah, it was such a long process, and I literally finished this the other day, I think about 2 days ago. And I didn't want to say anything until I had the deck in my hands, but like I finished it, I ordered it, I saved it, and I realized that costs have gone up because of everything that's happening in the world. So now I have another thing working against me. Shipping has doubled. There's tariffs added on top of taxes. I might have to ridiculously overcharge for this deck and my other deck now and still not have any profit from either of them because I need to cover the costs of just ordering these things, right? They're all made to order. So I'm dealing with that. And, you know, I've kind of been just taking it all in for the past couple of days. And I didn't celebrate finishing my Mac Miller deck until it actually got here and it was in my hands and I could smell it and feel it and shuffle it and do a video with it and show it off and start promoting it. That's when I went and I celebrated it, right? I have been told that I confuse celebration with cake. I like cake. I can't say everybody likes cake because not everybody does. My baby child, for some reason, does not like cake. Blows my mind. She's my child. She doesn't like brownies. She doesn't like chocolate. She doesn't like cake. I don't think she's my child anymore. But I like cake. And I feel like I'm not really doing something unless there's cake involved. So for the past couple of days, I've been sitting here like dying to talk about this, and I will talk about it more because I wrote up a little insert for the deck. Since I'm not going to be making a book, again, I'm not going to make a book, I'm not going to make a box. It is way too expensive of a project already as it is. So I made a little insert. I'm going to do the same thing I did for my Mac Miller deck with making tarot bags for those of you who order them, and now you have an insert with a little backstory to understand why this deck is a little different and how to use it and things like that. And I'm very proud of this one because this was actual hard work, and now I can focus on my book that I'm working on, which is pretty much already done. It's just the editing and publishing process now. So I'm moving, I'm getting there. But I have cake. Got my favorite little cake and a sparkly little candle, and I am going to have a moment because today I had a little talk with Lucifer, and I've been beating myself up about a lot of things. I've been feeling really hard about a lot of things, and he said, "You're doing great. You are aligned. You're where you're supposed to be. Everything's on track. Stop worrying so much. You're human. Be human. Feel your feels. Everything's fine. Go eat some fucking cake and celebrate, okay?" So that's what I'm doing. Thank you, Lucifer, for helping me through that situation. I'm truly grateful for your presence and your guidance, protection, and love as always. Thank you to those of you who continue to support me on this journey, and I can't wait to share my Ancestor Oracle deck with you when it gets here.